Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and this is Are You an NPC by channel Kurzgesagt in a nutshell. Yes, new Kurzgesagt video. This was posted yesterday. I'm guessing NPC, so basically you don't have control over yourself type of thing. Yeah, this is a really interesting concept. Theory basically going out there, especially with theoretical physicists. A lot of them are kind of wondering that. Whatever small evidence is there probably is leaning towards maybe you don't have control, which is like scary in many ways, right? When you really think about it, like what is the criminal system after that, right? Obviously, criminal system was always there to like put dangerous element away from society, not really punishment type of way. But if you just suddenly come to realization like you don't have control over anything, everything's predetermined, how do you punish anything if this was already written there, right? It's like you did this bad, yeah, but it was written there. So it's many things become issue in society basically if it turns out that you don't have any control. So that's a very very scary concept, right? But I don't know. Obviously, like I said, it's barely scratching the surface of it, so we don't know anything yet. But I'm thinking that's what's gonna be this gonna be about. So it's gonna be interesting. That's what it. Remember, if you like my reaction, don't forget to subscribe so you know that way you can help this channel by helping the algorithm and things. I like watching scientific videos. Usually I just watch Kurzgesagt video because I don't know. Other channels I know of really good at Vsauce, but he uploads nowadays like every 1 or 2 years or something. But I don't know. Comment down if you know any other good channels like this that you want me to react to. That's always fun.
Are you free? Free to choose what you do and make decisions? Or are you an NPC, unable to decide anything for yourself? You feel that you have control over your life, or at least what you'll have for breakfast. But this may be an illusion. Physics actually may force you to go through life as if on rails, with no free will at all. You experience free will all the time, like when you decided to watch this video instead of doing something useful. Free will is your ability to decide by yourself what you do. It means that the future is an open arena that you can shape with your actions. It's at the core of human relationships. It means you are responsible for your actions, which is the basis of our moral and legal systems. There are too many dimensions for one short video: moral, psychological, biological, so we'll focus on the most essential part: is free will even possible? Two main philosophical camps are fighting about this. No matter how we represent them, they'll be upset about it, so we'll use our own words. The first camp claims that the very idea of free will is fundamentally incompatible with the laws of the universe. You are an NPC. Whatever you exactly are, it's somehow made up of your physical brain and body. And these are made of cells, which are made of proteins, which are made of atoms and particles like protons or electrons. So fundamentally, you're a specific, quite lovely, dynamic pattern of particles. Particles have no will, no motivation, no freedom. They blindly follow the laws of physics.
I guess we are, tackling consciousness topic. We can say this person is consciousness related. What is consciousness?
And we don't know why, but most laws of physics are deterministic, which means that things happen the way they do because of the things that came before. If you play pool and hit a ball at a specific speed and angle, the laws of physics tell you exactly how all the balls on the table will behave, their speeds, recoil directions, everything. These laws completely decide the behavior of all balls on the table. At the microscopic level, things work very much like that, only without players. Actions and reactions affect all the particles in the universe, creating a chain of causal effects that extends throughout time from the past to the future. Things happen, making other things happen. Now imagine that if right after the Big Bang, a super smart supercomputer looked at every single particle in the universe and noted all their properties. Just by applying the deterministic laws of physics, it should be able to predict what all the particles in existence would be doing until the end of time. But if you're made of particles and it's technically possible to calculate what particles will do forever, then you never decided anything. Your past, present and future.
All of the where did the supercomputer came from? Its supercomputer itself can make its own decision. Is that deterministic as well? Right? We're jumping a lot of things. Yeah, obviously when we talk about fundamentals like laws of physics, anything physics basically, Obviously, that's very simplistic. So you can say like, basically how Kurzgesagt explained it here, right? Everything can be like one layer to another type of way. But let's create more complex scenarios, right? In gravity, everything falls at the same time, right? But what about the air? What about the friction? See? So at the fundamentals, at the base of things, obviously things are very simplistic, but the more things get into it, the more complex it becomes, right? More and more elements get attached to it. And chemistry and biology is much more complex like that. Too many elements at play here. And that's all we need. More than one or two things to basically at play here, right? Let's say 1,000 things are at play with us. All those 1,000 things can create different scenarios. And maybe we can choose from those scenarios based on our action or what we desire or something, right? So using fundamentals as an example of why complex things cannot have something like a free will is kind of like weird.
Were already predetermined and decided at the Big Bang. That would mean there is a kind of fate, and you are not free to decide anything. You may feel like you make decisions, but you're actually on autopilot. The motions of the particles that make up your brain cells that made you watch this video were decided 14 billion years ago. You're just in the room when it happens. You're only witnessing how the universe inside you unfolds in real time. But this can't be true because of quantum mechanics, right? Quantum processes are intrinsically random, not deterministic, and can't be predicted with total certainty. On the quantum pool table...
Yeah, but they are just right random enough to be in a way deterministic. See, that's the thing. You can come to a conclusion about anything, right? Even basically quantum like that, right? They are random, but they are just random enough to have certain pattern, right? I don't know, man. To me, it feels like anybody who basically thinks about these things takes a leeways a lot because they are basing something on the science that we got right, but even that science is not 100% like we know of, right? I don't know how to say that. We take a theory and from there we take that at a face value and move on, but even that theory is not 100%, right? Even Einsteinian physics is working perfectly, but it still have limitations like black hole and like singularity and things like that. So that's the problem here. We come to a conclusion about a lot of things. That's why a lot of theories out there, or hypotheses or theories, basically, educated hypotheses, let's just say, basically come to some conclusion like tachyons and things that doesn't really exist, right? This could be one of those instances. Or at least I'm hoping it, because I like to have free will, let's just say.
Balls can go randomly left or up or banana. Their behavior isn't set by what came before, but randomly decided in real time. But for the no free will camp, this doesn't affect their argument. They think that since quantum processes are random, they don't allow you to make any decisions. Because if there's randomness for the things that fundamentally make up your brain and body, these random processes make the decisions for you. How? Say an electron can randomly go right or left. If it goes left, it triggers electric currents between your neurons that create a neuronal process which triggers a long chain of actions that make you watch a YouTube video. Or it goes right and makes you clean your room. Just because the chain is extremely complex doesn't mean you have any control over it. So maybe your fate was not decided at the Big Bang, but it is decided at this very moment. The important part is that it's not decided by you. You get no say in this. You have no free will.
Yeah, this camp is really overpowered, isn't it? Like you don't have free will, because you can use any argument to say you don't have free will, but the argument is you do have free will is like a anomaly in itself, isn't it? Like, okay, if it's predetermined, you don't have any free will. If it's random, you don't have any free will because you didn't really decide anything. It was random, right? So, yeah, this is one of those statistical arguments. Like chances of you having free will is kind of slim in that way, right? But I would argue like that could apply to anything, right? Let's say humans. Aren't we anomaly itself? Even life itself, isn't that anomaly? But there is no life as far as we can see. Obviously, we don't see everything. There must be life out there, but we don't see it. So just by that portion of evidence, like how much we can see, how many planets in the distance we can see, and we haven't found any life there, aren't we somewhat of like an anomaly itself? Or at least like small portion of the whole data we have? That makes us unique even for that person. Even if there is life out there, it's not going to be as much as it should have if everything is like equal, right? So anomalies and like uniqueness can happen, right? So arguments of fundamentals, I don't think it works for free will. But the way things are going, the way he's explaining it, chances of free will feel slim, right? Just by statistic, right? If it's not predetermined, it's random. You still don't have any control.
Wow. This is kind of a bummer because the argument fundamentally seems to make sense. Except, no, screams the free will side. This is a really bad way to think about the universe. You are the main character. We know that we can reduce everything that exists to its basic particles and the laws that guide them. While this makes physics feel like the only scientific discipline that actually matters, there's a problem. You can't explain everything in our universe.
Yeah, I mean, look, physics is the only thing matter because it's fundamental. That's what fundamental means. So things get complex than that, right? Chemistry is complex. Biology is even more complex chemistry, so even it's more complex, right? So physical fundamentals are simplistic, obviously, and from there everything builds on top of it. That's the base of everything, right? But that's the point. Everything gets more and more complex, right? You can't really use, laws of physics and fundamentals like that to explain why humans has to be something like that or act like that. We are complex chemistry. That's the whole point. And we are complex enough, like I said, like let's just say there are 1,000 different processes that are working. Enough of them would create enough different scenarios that we can probably choose from, so we would have free will, right? All the question of if we have free will or not would basically end up inside our brain. Like if we really understand how brain works, how consciousness work, then we can really think about it, because what is it that makes us choose certain things, right? That's where all the confusion starts. Like, did we really choose it, or there was some other thing working in the background that made us choose it, and we realize it's our free will?
Only in terms of particles. One key fact about reality that we can't explain by looking just at electrons and quantum stuff is emergence. Emergence is when many small things together create new fundamental traits that didn't exist before. A drop of water is just a sextillion H2O molecules. If you get water on your pants, they get wet. But what is wetness? H2O molecules are not wet, but your pants are definitely wet now. Many small things together just created something new that doesn't exist at the level of the individual molecules. Emergence occurs at all levels of reality, and reality seems to be organized in layers: atoms, molecules, cells, tissues, organs, you, society.
And not just that, it's like, that's beauty of chemistry, right? Different combination of the same thing would yield a different result, right? Let's say salt, right? NaCl. Salt, everybody eats salt. It's salt. I mean, it's not dangerous really. But if you split it about, right? Na and C, basically like that. If you split it like that, sodium is like dangerous because, like with water thing, it would explode, right? Chlorine, right, itself is dangerous too. So, but combined together, NaCl, that's salt, right? It's not really dangerous to us. Now, many things you can think, like H2O, and basically most things are not harmful to us. With certain combination, if you split it apart, add something to it, it becomes instantly poisonous or dangerous. Flammable, something will explode, something is dangerous to our health. So that's the beauty of chemistry, right? Even things that are not that dangerous to us, just splitting them apart is enough to create something that is much dangerous. So that's how chemistry works.
Put many things in one layer together and they'll create the next layer up. Every time they do, entirely new properties emerge. One atom can't handle information, but many of them together can form a DNA molecule. Molecules are not alive, but many of them can form a cell, and cells are alive. With each jump up the complexity ladder, the rules of what's possible change. Completely new
Basically what I said about salt, right? Different combination yield different results. It's just chemistry. Biology is just complex chemistry. That's how it works.
Emerge that are much more than the sum of their parts. And here, the reductionist view of the universe breaks down. The layers of reality need each other to make sense. You can explain living things with cells, cells with molecules, and molecules with atoms. But because of emergence, you can't start with quantum particles and reconstruct the universe. You can't explain galaxies with quantum mechanics or human psychology with quarks. This is not the whole story. Reality is not just structured in layers, but for some reason, the layers are also largely independent of each other. Things existing within the same layer can influence each other and maybe a layer up or down. But often they don't seem to influence things much higher up or down. To figure out how your organs work, you don't need quarks. To understand politics, you don't need to know about cells. If you want to explain things happening on one layer, you can only do that by staying close
Yeah, to understand politics, I don't think cells or anything would help.
to that layer. No, screams the no free will camp in frustration. You can't just use magic to explain free will. But the emergence argument doesn't invoke magic. It just says that thinking about free will in terms of determinism and fundamental laws is a dead end. A kind of category error, like trying to explain galaxies by looking at your digestive tract. It's part of a
Yeah, see, it's very easy to say we don't have free will than to say we have free will. So this is basically like trying to, I don't know, like basically before, Newton came and said like, oh, there's gravity. Everybody said, there's no gravity. What the fuck you on about? Prove you have gravity. Basically something like that, right? You have to prove you have free will in this type of conversation. So no camp is going to have like higher argument towards them. They will always argue. And to prove we have free will, we need to prove a lot of things, basically. There's many areas of science we still haven't explored, beyond certain point. We don't even come to close to understand what is consciousness, let alone explain if you have free will or something. So obviously that's going to be upward battle from there. So yeah.
reductionist school of thinking about the universe that very successfully shaped science for a long time, but that's challenged by emergence. So maybe trying to understand free will by looking at fundamental particles, deterministic laws, and quantum mechanics misses the point. The question we should be asking is, which layer of reality is relevant to free will? Well, just like no individual molecule creates wetness, not a single cell in your brain wants to watch YouTube. But one layer up, your brain, made of 80 billion interconnected neurons, does. On this layer, all the things relevant to you emerge: your consciousness, character, feelings, your fears and dreams. This is where you emerge. We don't know why and how, but we know that you're here right now. How all the things going on in your brain play off each other to make you who you are is a whole different can of worms. But on this layer of reality, you are part of the decision process. Because at this level, you are just one more physical cause of whatever happens in your brain. You are shaped by your decisions, and your decisions are shaped by you. You have a say about this layer of reality. You are not just witnessing how the universe inside you unfolds, you're actually taking part in it. And you're free to do so however you see fit. At least this is how some on the free will side see it. Conclusion and opinion. So, who's right? Is there free will? We don't know. If you ask us personally, we think the argument for free will is more appealing because it brings the complexity of the universe to the table.
Appealing?
Maybe.
It's more than appealing. It better be real. Otherwise, a lot of things will go out of window, basically, right? Like I said, like criminal justice system and all that. Like I said, the whole point of criminal justice system is to put away bad elements from society, obviously. But there's also a layer of like you did something bad, right? Now, if you remove that, right, punishment might be a bit different, right? Then right now the punishment is, right? I mean, think about all the bad elements. Think about something like Hitler or something, right? If you just say like, okay, there is no free will, it's all deterministic, how are you supposed to think anything from that point on? So that's really effed up scenario, right? This is one scientific area where people are gonna like bat for something like, oh, better have free will, because if it's not, there's many issues after that.
Existence is just the sum of its parts, but at least for now, it seems the universe is not that simple. But even if we don't have free will, it's not clear what that changes for practical purposes. You and us, we humans, on a purely subjective...
If you have depression, right, you would realize, right, that sometimes your mood is suddenly off. Right, but there was a joke, I think Drake made a joke on some SNL skit or something. Oh, I'm depressed, no reason really. Something like that, right? I thought about psychology a lot, right? Basically, whenever free time, I Google shit about different like scientific fields like that. So I've been reading about that a lot, and I realized like if you're depressed, right, doesn't matter what you do, even if you like, you won't enjoy it. A simple medication, let's just say something like even pain medication, right? That's why people abuse it. Something like opioids and things would instantly make you feel good, right? Doesn't matter even if you don't do something, right, that you want to. You're just feeling good, right? Even watching the wind outside, was just, oh, this feels good. It's calming. Let's drink something like coffee or something. Let's just enjoy the evening or something. Basically, something like that, right? It's what triggers things in your head, whether you have free will or not. You're gonna do what you've been doing so far. You're gonna do what you wanna do in the future, right? It depends on like how you're gonna respond to it, whether it's free will or not. You're gonna be still you. It doesn't change you.
Basis feel like we have free will and that your decisions are yours to make. As long as we're not sure either way, and if it feels like you're making decisions, what does it matter if a non-existent supercomputer could have calculated the future at the Big Bang? Or if quantum stuff all the way down randomly nudges your cells one way or the other? Free will that feels free is good enough for us. In any case, now you can decide what to do next. Maybe get some stuff done, or watch more of our videos. It's your decision, probably. At least you can pick which video to watch next, in theory.
Yeah, well, go to ground.news for that nutshell and support this channel. Go to original video page link. Cause got a really great channel for things like that. They were like big team, always thinking about things like this. The best thing about this channel is not just scientific topics, how different the topics are. Right? If you just watch Kurzgesagt, and if you haven't seen any other Kurzgesagt video, you just like binge watch it, you'll come across many different scientific fields and topics about basically that piques your interest. It's not just one thing, which is awesome. Alright, well, there was, are you an NPC? Well, we hope not. NPC, that term becomes such a video game term, right? Non-playable character. We're not playing, okay, I guess, fine. If this is simulation, we might be NPC, why not? But yeah. Alright, this was my channel, Kurzgesagt in a nutshell. If you like my next one, don't forget to subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you next time.